We have finally seen John Cena's new heel gimmick, and there's no new heel theme, there's no new attire, and honestly, I absolutely hate it. But that is why it's perfect. I'm Ben Allison, you're watching Allison Analysis, and here are my 5 key findings from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. In at number 5, could we see Joe Hendry on Monday Night Raw next week? Jey Uso has said he's going to have a mystery partner to face Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. So who should it be? Well, of course, we all know who it should be. Joe Hendry. I mean, Scotland would go wild. The roof would quite literally blow off of the venue. It would be insane. I mean, I absolutely loved Axiom on Friday Night SmackDown this past week, but this would be even better than that. I mean, Joe Hendry is a huge celebrity in Scotland. There is no better place to do this. Plus, it would be another great way to really show off their new partnership with TNA Wrestling. It'd be super fun, and of course, they know TNA won, but also, they're really helping TNA out by showcasing one of their stars as well. And to my knowledge, it's not like there's any TNA taping this weekend. At least I don't think there is, so he should be free as well. But enough of me being positive, I do have an actual negative to say. This just didn't advance the Jey Uso Gunther feud, did it? And neither will Joe Hendry next week if he does show up. I mean, literally, this Gunther Jey Uso feud right now is just so bad. They're advancing like 2 different feuds, and then at the end of their matches each week, they either have a bit of a brawl, or like Jey Uso took the title. I mean, I don't understand what they're trying to achieve, but they're not achieving it. And it sucks because I want to be invested in this feud. I like both these guys and it's got really great potential. But it feels like every week I've been saying the same thing over and over and over again. And every week I also say, but it's fine. They still have time. But time is starting to run out. It really is. And they need to get fans to buy into this fast. Otherwise, I mean, I don't even know if it deserves to open a WrestleMania. Never mind close one. This could well end up in the middle of the card. In at number 4, we are seemingly not going to see the Lucha Brothers together in WWE anytime soon. Now, of course, we saw some teasers for Phoenix last week on SmackDown, so a lot of people thought that Penta was now going to start to head towards that direction and reform that tag team with his brother, which, of course, we've seen all across the world. But tonight on Raw, Penta defeated Ludwig Kaiser in an absolutely brilliant match. The crowd were absolutely on fire for Penta, right? Absolutely great. But after the match was what was noteworthy, because Penta called out Bron Breakker, and then later in the night, we saw the two face off, and the crowd were loving it. I was loving it, and I cannot wait to see what's going to be a banger between the two. But this does make it clear that Penta's singles run is not over yet, and honestly, understandably so. He has gotten so over as a single star that you might as well capitalize on it a little bit more and just push the tag team unit back a little bit. So what I'm guessing they're going to do now is establish Rey Fenix as a single star over on Friday Night SmackDown. And this is actually a smart move. Now, it might not have been the move they originally wanted to do, because I presume they wanted to bring them both in together originally, right? But if they establish both of them as single stars and then put them together, the tag team is going to feel like even more of a big deal. So long term, it's going to be way more beneficial for both of them. But I also just can't get over how over Penta was. I mean, the crowd were going nuts for him. In at number 3, I am loving this Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair feud. Another week, another great segment with this contract signing. We saw both Io Sky and Bianca Belair sign that contract, and then Rhea Ripley came out and she signed it too. She added her name to it. Now, of course, that doesn't actually mean anything officially, but it is a statement of intent. She wants to be in that match, and Io and Bianca both aren't too happy with her. So honestly, I don't think they're going to have any obligation to her actually being added to it. And Rhea is slowly starting to act a little bit more heelish once again, right? And it feels very natural, it's being done very well. And I'm not saying she is turning heel, but for the sake of this feud, she's kind of leaning a little bit more towards that side again, and it is working well. I am not exaggerating when I say this, but I genuinely think this could steal the show from an in-ring perspective at WrestleMania. I am so excited for it. These are 3 of the best wrestlers in the world. You could make an argument that Io Sky is the best in the world, and these 3 together, I truly believe are going to make magic in Las Vegas. And I do understand a lot of people wanting to just see Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. And would that have been a monumental feud, a massive moment? It absolutely would. And that undoubtedly is also a WrestleMania main event. But truthfully, I prefer this one, right? Firstly, I want Io Sky to be on the card, and this is a way to do so. But secondly, the dynamic, I think having Io there makes it a lot more interesting. And so far, they've backed up my point, and yeah, Las Vegas is going to be fun. But before we get into the top 2 key findings, if you guys could like and subscribe, that would be massively appreciated. Here at Wrestling Republic, we create between 5 to 10 free videos every single week, and in addition to that, we have a live daily stream every single day at 8 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 1 p.m. Pacific. Then at the end of March, start of April, it's going to go back to its normal time of 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 12 p.m. Pacific. It's different right now because of the clocks changing all over the world. It's a little bit chaotic, but it is always fun. I hope to see you guys there. And in at number 2, WWE need to do more global tours around the world with Raw and SmackDown. Tonight, we witnessed what might just have been the loudest crowd for a Raw event in history, or at the very least, top 5. Belgium were on fire. This past week on Friday, Barcelona were on fire, right? And that was one of the loudest SmackDown crowds of all time as well. But what this tells us is we need more international Raw and SmackDowns. Going from these crowds back to the US in a few weeks is going to be just an awful downgrade. Let's be real about it, right? The European crowds are about 10 times louder than the US ones. Now, hopefully, this encourages the US crowds to raise their game a little bit, but even still, I have an idea. My idea is that once a month, WWE do an international tour somewhere in the world, doing a SmackDown, then on a Saturday doing a live event, and then on a Monday doing an episode of Monday Night Raw. Obviously, talent live in the United States, right? So you can't do this too much. But once a month, especially with the plane service they get, it wouldn't be too bad, especially if they're going to get more money for it, which they should do. And yes, I understand some United States fans are a little bit frustrated at the fact that it means it's an earlier time for them to watch it. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to WWE, it is not America first anymore. They actually earn more money from outside the US than in the US, right? They are truly an international company. But right now, this road to WrestleMania feels so special, and a large part of that is not just the amazing stories which they are telling, and the stories are amazing, but it is also the amazing crowds. And I'm so excited for SmackDown on Friday. I'm so excited for Raw next Monday. It is going to be a fun couple of weeks. And in at number 1, John Cena not changing his look absolutely sucks, but that's why it's perfect. We all wanted a new look. We all wanted a new theme. So guess what? He didn't give them to us. And that is perfect heel work. I truly think tonight was one of the best promos of John Cena's entire career. He established why he was a heel. He had the crowd in the palm of his hand. He played into the crowd so well, like he always does. But also his explanation, I mean, it was a little bit stupid. It made sense, but it was also annoying. It was like you could see the logic flaws in it. And that makes you annoyed, and that is why this is so good. So many people in the IWC were complaining about how he was being whiny and all of this. And again, that's why this is so good. I did have a slight fear that fans were going to root for a heel Cena because of how long we have wanted it. But Cena is doing the opposite of what all of us want, and that is perfect. And if you don't believe me, look at the reaction Cody got. They were going nuts for him, right? Everybody's always wanted a heel Cena, and the entire crowd was like 99% Cody. So I'm no longer worried about the crowd rooting for Cena over Cody, because this promo, I think, fixed all of that. And I'm really excited to see how this feud develops over the next few weeks. And it does look right now very, very promising. Plus, if they do transition him back into a babyface before he retires, which I presume they will do, this is going to make it much easier to transition back to that, because it's not like he's got to change his theme again or his attire or anything like that. Plus, they can still sell just an absolute ton of merch too, which is great. But overall, I really did enjoy tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Again, it was on a reasonable time for me, 7 p.m. It was 2.5 hours, absolutely flew by. So I honestly have nothing bad to say. The only little bit of a negative in the show, and they did this on SmackDown too, right, is you have to realize there is a rivalry between European countries, right? It's not like in America where you can say, oh, we're going to go here next week, and it's great, and it's only 2 hours away, so a lot of you guys can go there too. Europe, we don't really think like that. Like, I know to Americans, the fact that England is 2 hours away from Spain, for example, seems like a short distance, but I think Americans travel a lot more than we do. But yeah, last week telling the Spanish crowd that the next week was in Italy and them all booing and then all of that. Like, they got to realize that's going to happen. And in Seth Rollins' promo, he expected to get a cheer when he mentioned about going to SmackDown, and the crowd went silent for the first time all night because they didn't want to boo him because they love him. But at the same time, they don't care about that. They are not going to be there. They are here tonight. And he kind of did save it with that sing-along, but they were a lot more quieter the second time they sang it after he said that. And I think this might just be a little bit of a cultural thing which WWE need to get their heads around, because yes, we're, very close to the continent, Europe. A lot of our countries are very close, but it's not like, we're all friends necessarily. But yeah, the first ever heel John Cena promo, the promo battle with Cody Rhodes, it was exceptional. So you know what? Pretty much just for that, this show can actually take my money, right? But also there was a banger, Breakker versus Finn Balor, Ludwig Kaiser versus Penta as well. Just banger after banger, really, really fun episode. So I loved it. It flew by, perfect way to spend a Monday evening. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on tonight's episode of Raw in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Ba 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 ba. Be